Okay, good morning and welcome to the fourth class in this 15 lecture series. Last class we talked about arithmetic, number representation. We discussed how to convert an hexadecimal number to a binary number, a octal number to a binary number, a decimal number to a binary number, and vice versa. And we also gave some insight into why those conversion procedures are correct. And in the whole of the previous lecture, we were assuming that the numbers were unsigned numbers. So today we will be looking at signed number. First and foremost, in the hardware there is nothing called a subtractor, everything is adder. So given two numbers, the adder will just treat them as the hardware, the adder which is part of the hardware, which is part of the ALU, will treat these numbers as unsigned numbers and it will just do an addition. There is no notion of a subtraction in the hardware. So it is our responsibility, that is the compiler's responsibility, to model subtraction as addition. This is a necessity from the hardware point of view. Now how do we do that? There is a very simple intuition for this. Suppose let me say I want to do A minus B, this should become A plus some minus B. As far as the adder is concerned, as far as the hardware adder is concerned, it will assume that A is an unsigned number and whatever this minus B is another unsigned number, it will just do addition and give us a result, and that we have to reinterpret it and find out what the answer is, right. So one of the important things that we will be learning today is how we perform the operation of subtraction as addition. The necessity comes from the hardware, as I will repeat again. The necessity comes from the hardware because there is nothing called a subtractor, everything is addition, and this adder will see whatever we give two numbers to it and say add, both these numbers, the adder will look at it as unsigned numbers and perform the addition. So we should use an adder which is capable of adding two unsigned numbers and do signed arithmetic using that hardware, namely this adder. So this is what we will be covering today, what sort of representations of numbers that we need to follow so that we can model this subtraction as an addition. Okay. The computing system is not one that can handle an infinite range of numbers. There is a finite range of numbers that the system is capable of handling. Let us again start with what we call as the unsigned integers. Suppose I have only 2 bits to represent an integer. So using these 2 bits, I can do these 2 combinations, namely 00, 01, 10, 11 which will represent 0, 1, 2 and 3. These are the decimal values of this. Suppose I have 3 bits, then I can represent 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, which will represent 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I have 2 bits, I can represent up to 4 numbers. If I have 3 bits, I can represent up to 8 numbers. So if I have n bits, I can represent up to 2 power n numbers. This numbers actually stands for unsigned integers. A very simple proof for this statement is that every bit, I can just say n bits, every one of this bit can assume one of the 2 values, namely 0 and 1. So if we take a combination across n bits, then since each can have 2 possibilities, and since there are n, I could have 2 into 2 into 2 into 2 n times possibilities, which essentially is 2 power n. So if I have 2 bits, I have 2 into 2 possibility, which is 4, because each of this can take 0 or 1, and for each of this other bit can take 0 or 1. So I assume the first bit is 0, the second bit takes 0, 1. I assume the second bit is, first bit is 1, the next bit takes 0 or 1. Right. So like this, for if I have 3 bits, then since each of this can take one of the 2 values, so totally I can take 2 into 2 into 2, which is 8. So if I have n bits, the same argument I can extend and say that I could have 2 power n unsigned integers, right. So the moment I want to represent signed integers, so by using this I can represent 0, 1, 2 till 2 power n minus 1, 0, 1, 2 to 2 power n minus 1. For example, n is 3, I can represent from 0, 1, 2, 3, because since n is 2, this is 2 power 2 minus 1, which is 3, so I can represent from 0 to 3. When n is 3, I can represent from, this is 2 power 3 minus 1, which is 7, so I can represent from 0, 1, 2 to 7. The moment I am looking at signed integers, wherein I am interested in associating a signed bit. So I want to say represent between minus 4, minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3 on both sides, right. So one of the thing is, in the number representation, I need to associate at least one bit which I call as the sign bit. And the most obvious choice for this sign bit is the most significant bit. I did mention in the previous class that in a positional representation, say 569, this is a positional representation because based on the position a different weight is associated with every digit. For example, 5 is associated with the power of 100, while 6 is associated with a power of 10, 9 is associated with a power of 1. In a positional representation, this is the least significant digit and this is the most significant digit. Similarly, in a binary representation, say let us take 5 bit, this is the least significant bit and this is the most significant bit. The obvious choice for representing the signed bit would be the most significant bit. So one of the immediate or quick way of representing sign number is what we call as this sign magnitude representation. What do we understand by this sign magnitude representation? So in the entire representation there is one bit which is the most significant bit, which should be, there will be one bit which is the most significant bit which is associated with the sign, and the remaining part of the bit will be associated with the magnitude. Fine. So let us take this 3-bit example. So I have 0 0 0, 0 0 1, 0 1 0, 0 1 1. All of them will represent positive numbers because the most significant bit is 0, and I say if it is 0, the sign associated with that number is plus. So when we take 0 0 0 or any of this, the first bit is basically the sign bit, while the remaining 2 bits give the value of the number, namely the magnitude of the number. So that is why this representation is called sign magnitude representation. So here this will stand for plus 0, this will stand for plus 1, this will stand for plus 2, this will stand for plus 3. Then after this everything starts with 1, 1 0 0, 1 0 1, 1 1 0, 1 1 1. This will stand for minus 0, this will stand for minus 1, this will stand for minus 2, this will stand for minus 3. So let us just do it for 2 bits, 0 0, 0 1, 1 0, 1 1. This will stand for plus 0, this will stand for plus 1, this will stand for minus 0, this will stand for minus 1. So using a sign magnitude representation, the range that I could represent is minus of 2 power n minus 1 minus 1 to 2 power n minus 1 minus 1 using n bits. If I put n equal to 2 here, this would be minus 2 minus 1 sorry, minus 2 power n minus 1 plus 1 to 2 power n minus 1 minus 1. So this will be, if I put 2 here, it will be minus 2 plus 1 to 2 minus 1, which is minus 1 to plus 1. If I for n equal to 2, if I say n equal to 2, then it is going to be between minus 1 to plus 1, which is what you see here. If I have 2 bits, I can represent from minus 1 to plus 1. If I have 3 bits, then I can represent from minus 2 power 2 plus 1 to 2 power 2 minus 1, which is nothing but minus 3 to plus 3. You see here, this is minus 3 to plus 3. So this is the sign magnitude representation. So one of the obvious drawbacks of this sign magnitude representation is we are wasting one important thing, namely plus 0 and minus 0. There is no necessity to have, I can have only one 0. There is no necessity to have a plus 0 and a minus 0 from an arithmetic perspective, because both have the same value. Unlike plus 1 and minus 1, they have 2 different values. Plus 0 and minus 0, plus 0 is equal to minus 0. So there is no necessity for me to have representation, different representations for plus 0 and minus 0. So this is one small drawback of this method. Okay, now let us now go and consolidate this whole thing, that what we have discussed in the last 15 minutes. Given n bits, the unsigned numbers can be in the range 0 to 2 power n minus 1. Signed numbers in what we call as the sign magnitude representation will be from minus 2 power n minus 1 plus 1 to minus 2 power n minus 1, sorry, 2 power n minus 1. And already I told a very simple drawback of this. If you had given complete attention to my previous 15 minutes of lecture, you would also understand that there is another problem here that we have posed, that the hardware knows only adding unsigned numbers. So even when you want to subtract or do any arithmetic on your signed numbers, it is the compiler's responsibility to convert that signed arithmetic operation as an unsigned addition. That signed arithmetic addition or subtraction should be modeled as an unsigned addition and given to the adder, and it will give a result which again has to be reinterpreted and the necessary answer should be taken. So one of the important exercise that we would do in the next 20 minutes is how do we model signed arithmetic, signed addition slash subtraction as unsigned addition. And why we are doing it, I again repeat, we do this because the hardware can just do only signed unsigned addition, and we have to model all our signed arithmetic using this unsigned addition. So what sort of representation we will look at? So I am going to first, in the next 10 minutes, I will be making the foundation for understanding this representation. Okay. So let us say, first and foremost, please understand that we cannot represent infinity in computer. We have a finite representation. So let us take this. If I have 3 bits and you start counting 0 0 0, then it will become 0 0 1, 0 1 0, 0 1 1, 1 0 0, 1 0 1, 1 1 0, 1 1 1. After that you count another 1, what it will happen? You will get 1 0 0 0, but since you can't represent more than 3 digits or 3 bits, this 1 will be lost because I can only represent 3 digits. So this 1 will be lost. Again you start counting 0 0 0. So in some sense what happens is, if I start counting 1 by 1 from 0 0 0, you will end up with 1 1 1, and again you will start with 0 0 0. So in some sense this addition that we are trying to do is cyclic in nature, because you go on in cycles. So you start with 0 0 0, you keep counting once, again you come to 0 0, again you start counting once, again you come back to 0 0 0. So every 8th addition you come back to the same point and keep repeating. So when I have finite arithmetic and I keep incrementing by 1, essentially I land up with a cyclic traversal of the number system. of the number line. So I can represent this entire operation as a circle. First, let us concentrate on unsigned addition. Suppose I want to just do A plus B. Say I want to do 2 plus 3. How do I do? I start from 2 and go clockwise 3 steps. Start from 2 and go clockwise 3 steps. From 2, first step, second step and third step. So I reach 5. So when I say let us do another thing. Suppose I want to say 4 plus 2. What I do? I start from 4 and go 2 steps clockwise. 5, 6. Similarly, I want to do 4 minus 2 for some reason. The same cycle can be used. Start from 4 and go 2 steps anti-clockwise. So start from 4 and go 2 steps anti-clockwise, I go back to 2. So at this point, just understand this arithmetic only. At this point, addition is a clockwise operation while subtraction is a anti-clockwise operation. Now what did we tell? We want to model both subtraction and addition in the same manner. So I want to model subtraction as addition. If I want to model subtraction as addition, then I have to translate this anti-clockwise motion as a clockwise motion. Because for us addition is clockwise, subtraction is anti-clockwise. Suppose I say I want to model subtraction as addition, then I have to model this anti-clockwise motion as a clockwise motion. How do we do it? Instead of moving from, so how many steps are there in this whole arithmetic? There are 8 steps. After the 8th step, this whole thing again comes back. So instead of moving 2 steps anti-clockwise, can I move 6 steps clockwise? That's the question. Instead of moving 2 steps anti-clockwise, if I move 6 steps clockwise, then essentially I am going to get back this 2. Right? So this 4 minus 2 can be realized as start from 4 and go 6 steps. This 6 is realized as 8 minus 2, 6 steps clockwise. So go from 6 steps. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and I get 2. So this subtraction operation I have actually modeled now as addition, exploiting the fact that the arithmetic is cyclic in nature. So let us do one more example here. Suppose I want to move do 5 minus 4, 5 minus 3. So one way is start at 5 and go 3 steps anti-clockwise. So start at 5 and go 3 steps anti-clockwise. 1, 2, 3. So I get 2. The other way of saying is start at 5 and go 8 minus 3 steps equal to 5 steps clockwise. So from 5, if I go 5 steps clockwise, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I get 2. Correct? So if I say anti-clockwise is subtraction, clockwise is addition, I have modeled this subtraction as addition. Okay. I hope there is no doubt. It's a very simple concept. Anyway, if there are doubts, I will take up after another 10 minutes. But I hope all of you have understood this concept. So I am modeling addition, subtraction as addition. Both these cases essentially explains you that concept. So in essence, what we have done now, I want to so if I have minus 1, so if I have minus 3, if I could model it as 5, then 8 minus 3 can be handled as that 8 plus that 5. If then that 8 minus 3 can be handled as addition. If minus 2 could be modeled as 8 minus 2, then I can handle 4 minus 2 as addition. So if minus 1 is actually modeled as 8, 7, minus 2 if it is modeled as 6, minus 3 as 5, minus 4 as 4, all those 8 minus 4 or 6 minus 4, everything could be handled as addition. Right? So let us go and look at this. Now this is completely, we did it with using unsigned numbers just to have some clarity. The moment I want to go and have signed numbers, then I told you the most significant bit should be representing the sign. So in this case there are 4 digits which are positive because their most significant bit is 0, and there are 4 digits, 4 representations or 4 combinations that are having a 1 in their most significant bit, and hence they can be, they are negative. So let us go and number them. So I will call this as minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 and minus 4. Now what happens? Please understand, 7 is modeled as minus 1, 6 is modeled as minus 2, 5 is modeled as minus 3, 4 is modeled as minus 4. So we have achieved what we want. So in a 2's complement, this is called 2's complement representation. Why it is called 2's complement, I will explain you towards the end. But what we have done again, simply we have listed down all these numbers as a cycle, and all the positive numbers we have done increasing from 0 to 3. All the negative numbers wherein the most significant bit are 1, from 0 anti-clockwise I have numbered them as -1, -2, -3, -4. So if I want to do say 2 minus 1, I start from 2, and instead of going one step anti-clockwise, what I need to do, I have to do 7 steps clockwise. And as -1 is represented as 7, if I just take the representation of -1 and add it with this 2, it essentially means it is going to take me 7 steps clockwise, because -1 is represented as 7. I want to do 3 minus 2, so I can go from 3 and go 2 steps anti-clockwise, or I can go 8 steps clockwise to reach this 1. And since 2, sorry, I can go 6 steps clockwise to reach this 1. And since -2 is modeled already as 6, right? So if I just add this 3 to this representation of -2, I get this 0, right? So when I represent, so in the 2's complement representation, let us take 3 bits. Your -1 is represented as 111, your -2 is represented as 110, -3 is represented as 101, -4 is represented as 100. Your 0 is represented as 000, 1 is represented as 001, 2 is represented as 010, 3 is represented as 011. Okay. So 2 things we get here. First thing is, all positive numbers, whether a number is positive or negative, we can immediately find out using the first bit, the first most significant bit. So for all the positive numbers, the most significant bit is 0, and for all negative numbers, the most significant bit is 1. And the second thing is, by this 2's complement representation, we can model subtraction as addition. For the simple reason, as I again mentioned, I am going to tell you, suppose I want to do 3 minus 1, it is 2 steps anti-clockwise, or it is 6 steps clockwise, and since -1 is modeled as 7 steps clockwise, since -1 is modeled as 7, it automatically, whenever I find -1, instead of going 1 step anti-clockwise, I will do 7 steps clockwise. Whenever I see -2, instead of going 2 steps anti-clockwise, automatically when I do an addition, it goes 6 steps clockwise, which is what we want, right? The interesting thing here also is that suppose I want to do -3 minus -1. Which is nothing but -3 plus 1. So if I want to do -3 plus 1, I give the representation of 101 and 110. So -3 plus 1 is what? -3 plus 1 is -2, right? So if I give the representation of 101 and 001, automatically I get 110, right? Suppose I want to do -2 minus 1. -2 minus 1 is nothing but from -2 go 1 step clockwise, or do 7 steps clockwise. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I get -2. So even -2 minus 1, you just take the representation of 110 and the representation of minus 1, which is 111, and then just add it. So if I add this 111 with 110, I get 1 plus 0 is 1, 1 is 0, and I get, just ignore the next digit. So I get 101, which is nothing but minus. So I just take the representation of these numbers and give it to the adder. The adder just treats it as two unsigned numbers, add it, and the result answer I can basically interpret it in whichever way, I interpret it back and I get the correct answer. So let us do a set of 3 to 4 additions here to basically explain this in more detail. Let us say 4 minus 3, sorry, this is not possible in 3-bit arithmetic because the maximum I can represent is only 3. So 4 minus 3 is not actually possible 3-bit arithmetic. So let me say 3 minus 2. So what is 3? 0, 1, 1. What is minus 2? 1, 1, 0. Add it, I get 1, 1 plus 1 is 0, 1 plus 1 is 0, and I get an extra 1 that goes off because I can only represent 3 bit. So what is 0, 0, 1? 0, 0, 1 is 1. 0, 0, 1 is 1. So 3 minus 2 equal to 1. Okay. Let me do, say, minus 2 plus 2. So representation of minus 2 is 1, 1, 0. Representation of plus 2 is 0, 1, 0. So add this, I get 0. 1 plus 1 is 0, carry is 1, 1 plus 1 is 0, carry is 1, carry goes. So the answer is 0. Let me do minus 2 minus 1. The representation of minus 2 is 1, 1, 0. The representation of minus 1 is 1, 1, 1. Add them, 1, 1, 1 is 0, 1, 1, 1 is 1, 1 goes off. I get 1, 0, 1, and what is the representation for 1, 0, 1? It is minus 3. It's also correct. Please do understand that I could not do 4 minus 3 because the maximum positive number I can represent is 3. I can't also do anything like minus 5 plus 1, I can't do because the minimum representation I could have is only minus 4. Please note that, so assuming that the inputs are within this range, all the inputs that I am going to get should be within this range, say 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, and within this range of minus 1 to minus 4. I can't have anything less than minus 4 nor something greater than 3. Now let us take two interesting situations. Suppose I want to do 1 plus 3. What is 1? 0, 0, 1. 3 is 0, 1, 1. When I add this, 1, 1 is 0, 1, 1 is, I get 1, 0, 0. And note what is 1, 0, 0? Is minus 4. It's wrong. Why I am getting such a wrong result? Because the answer got by this addition is out of the range of what I could represent. It is more than 3. I am getting minus 4 here, right? And so this is basically called as overflow. Similarly, let me do say minus minus 2 minus 3. So what is minus 2? 110. What is minus 3? 101. I get 1 1 1 1 is 0. I get 0 1 1. What is 0 1 1? This is plus 3, which is wrong. Why I am getting plus 3 here? Because minus 5, which is the correct answer, is out of the range of this. It is less than minus 4. This basically I can call as an underflow. So how do I detect this overflow and underflow? Please note that an underflow can happen assuming that the inputs are within this range. An underflow can happen only if I am going to have two negative numbers. For example, I should have minus 2 minus 3. I can't have one positive number and another negative number and create an underflow, because the least positive number is 0, right, or the most positive number is 3, and the least positive number is minus 1 or minus 4. I can't use a positive number and a negative number and create a underflow, because you take any combinations of one number being positive and another number being negative, do an arithmetic on it, you can never create an answer that is greater than 3 nor it is less than minus 5. So if I have one positive number and one negative number as my input to the adder, the result will never be, and both these numbers are within this range of minus 4 to plus 3, I can never create an underflow or a overflow. That we can easily verify here. It's a very straightforward exercise. So an underflow is created only when I am handling two negative numbers. A overflow is created only when I am handling two positive numbers. So when I take these two negative numbers and do the addition, and if I get a positive number as an answer, then it is an underflow. If I take two positive numbers and I get a negative number as an answer, then it is a overflow. Essentially it says that I have crossed this boundary, or I have crossed this boundary. I am crossing this boundary. So when will I get a overflow? When both the numbers are positive and I get a negative number as an answer, as you are seeing here, or when both the numbers are negative and I get a positive number as an answer, as you are seeing here. These are the cases where I will land up with a underflow or a overflow. Now, so this is another thing. So it is very easy for somebody to check the overflow or the underflow. If you look at traditional computer architecture, there is something called a flag register, which basically tells you whether the previous arithmetic operation had indeed landed up with a overflow or a underflow, right? If it has landed up with a overflow or an underflow, that means your arithmetic is wrong. So the program has to take some remedial measures or come out and indicate to the user that something has gone wrong in the arithmetic. So this is very important. Whenever we model arithmetic operation, it is very important that we detect the overflow or underflow. Now the very easy thing for us to do in this arithmetic is, when the two numbers are positive and the answer is negative, then there is an overflow. When two numbers are negative and the answer is positive, then there is. So a simple logic can be used with some basic sum and gates can be used to detect this particular overflow or underflow condition. So now with this 3 bits, what could I represent? I can, in the 2's complement arithmetic, I can go from minus 2 power n minus 1 to 2 power n minus 1 minus 1. Essentially I could represent one more number then the sign magnitude. With 3 bits I can go from minus 2 power 2 which is minus 4 to plus 2 power 2 minus 1 which is 3. Why this is called 2's complement? Please understand that see the cycle has how many steps? 2 power n steps. And I said instead of moving say k steps clockwise, I would like to move 2 power n minus k steps, and instead of moving k steps anti-clockwise, I can move 2 power n minus k steps clockwise. This was our argument. In the whole of those arithmetic, if you remember, I said instead of moving 6 steps clockwise, I can move 8 minus 6. So everywhere instead of moving 3 steps anti-clockwise, I can move 8 minus 3 steps clockwise. Where did that 8 come? 8 came because of 2 power 3. And that is precisely what we are doing. Minus 1. So I want to represent minus k as 2 power n minus k. If I represent minus k as 2 power n minus k, the moment I have minus k, since it is represented as 2 power n minus k, subtracting k from a number can be modeled as adding 2 power n minus k to that number. That is what we have seen here. So then precisely that we have done. So this is 0, this is 2 power n minus 1 and that has become minus 1. This is 2 power n minus 2 and that has become minus 2. 2 power n minus 3 that has become minus 3. 2 power n minus 4 that has become minus 4. So exactly that is what we are seeing here. So your 2 power n, your minus k is actually represented as 2 power n minus k in this representation. Now how will the given minus 1 to the compiler, how quickly will the compiler convert this minus 1 into 2 power n minus 1? So I am given minus 1, I should realize 1 1 1. How will I get this? What I do is I take minus 1, which I take 1, the magnitude part alone, I neglect the sign bit. So what is 1 in 3 bits? It is 0 0 1. Then I complement every bit, so it becomes 1 1 0. Then I add this, okay, right. So I get 1 1 1. So what I the way we represent minus 1 is that we take a number and complement every bit sorry, we take a number, complement every bit and add 1 to this. So we get 1 1 1. So let me do one more addition for you. Let us take minus 2. So you take 2 which is 0 1 0, complement all these bits, you get 0 1 1 and add 1 to this, which is going to give me 1 0 sorry 1 1 0. Sorry. So I take minus 2, first take 2 which is 0 1 0, complement every bit, I get 1 0 1, add 1 to this which I get 1 1 0, which is nothing but minus 2. Let me do one more example. Minus 3, take 3 which is 0 1 1, complement every bit, I get 1 0 0, add 1 to this, I get 1 0 1. Note that 1 0 1 is minus 3, correct. So How do you realize the 2's complement representation of a number? If it is a positive number, it is just that positive number itself. If I want plus 1, it is just 0, 0, 1. But if it is minus, what you do is you take the binary representation of the magnitude, complement every bit, and then add 1 to that. Since you are adding 1, so just complementing every bit is called 1's complement, to which I am adding 1 more, so it essentially becomes 2's complement. Okay. So why does this work? If I take a number, please understand that if I take a number and complement it and add it, suppose A is a n bit number, A plus A complement is 2 power n minus 1. A plus A complement is 2 power n minus 1. Why? Suppose I take any number, say 3 for example. I complement every bit 1 0 0. I add them, I get 1 1 1, which is 7, which is 2 power 3 minus 1. Let us take another number 1. I complement every bit and I add, I get. So if you take any number, complement every bit and then add, I get 2 power n minus 1. To this I add, in our operation after complementing these bits I add also 1. So if I say A plus A complement plus 1, which is nothing but 2 power n, 2 power n. So A complement plus 1 is equal to 2 power n minus A, and this is exactly what I want. I want minus A to be represented as 2 power n minus A, and what is 2 power n minus A is nothing but A complement plus 1. So if I complement every bit and add 1 to it, I get the desired representation for minus A. So the compiler, when it sees a positive number, it immediately represents it in the equivalent binary form. When the compiler actually sees a negative number, the way it is translated to 2's complement is you take the binary representation, complement every bit and then add 1 to it, and you basically get the 2's complement representation for that negative number, and the proof for this is shown here. So we will be giving a set of tutorials by Monday, wherein you will have these type of arithmetic. You can practice this. Meanwhile, you can go and refer your old books like Hemacher Computer Organization, Maurice Mano Digital Logic Design. All these books have tried and explained this 2's complement arithmetic, so you can take some examples and work for yourself. Now I will open up for a couple of questions, because we next 5 minutes. Do we have another class here? Okay, so I will open up for some questions now. Please hand raise so that I can answer some questions. Huh? Link me also. Ah. Yes, SVEC.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Yeah.
Sir, why can't you use least significant bit as a sign bit, sir? Why can't you use least significant bit as a sign bit?
why can't we use least significant bit as
Hello,
a
sir?
sign bit? Yes, I got your question. Why can't we use the least significant bit as the sign bit? Correct?
Yes, sir.
Why
In
can't
computer
we?
hardware. Yes, sir.
Yes. If the entire
Yes, sir. Yes,
computation
sir.
that I am talking of here will go berserk if I use the least significant bit, the sign bit as the least significant bit. Right? And secondly, it is more of a human, so we can say that we essentially what we can do is now push this bit to the last, right, and then do the arithmetic on the remaining bits, but it's not. Just you try operating like this by taking the least significant bit as a signed bit, the entire operation of modeling addition using modeling subtraction using addition will go berserk. Number one. Number two is that we need to have representations that are actually close to the human perception. In a human perception, you never say minus 2 as 2 minus, right? You only see minus 2 as minus 2. The minus is always on the leftmost side. So even from a human perception point of view, we see that this representation works, right? So that is again from the, so somebody sees a number, so the computer dumps a number, I want to find out whether it is negative or positive, I would normally try and see the most significant bit rather than the least significant bit. In addition, the least significant bit can be used for another constructive purpose, like whether it's an odd number or an even number. That's how we given a decimal representation, we go and test the last digit for its even or odd, and we say that the entire number is odd or even. Similarly, I can go and test a bit and find out whether it's odd or even. Leave alone that, if I am going to use the least significant bit for doing this this arithmetic, this whole operation becomes extremely complex. You may realize it, but it's not going to be as easy as this. For example, if I want minus a, I can't do some simple arithmetic like this. Please note that every conversion of this should happen very fast. I need very quick algorithms to do these type of number representation because these are fundamental. I can't actually run a loop testing every bit to convert a minus a into its corresponding 2's complement or the corresponding representation. I need a very simple way of converting that, and this actually provides you that way, right? So I leave it as a very simple exercise to you to go and find out what it means to make this least significant bit as the sign bit and try and do just this 3-bit arithmetic and come out with a circuit which can realize this arithmetic, right? Please note, I have only an unsigned adder. I should use an unsigned adder, a adder which will take two numbers as unsigned numbers and add and give you the result. Now I have to model subtraction and signed arithmetic using this unsigned adder, and for doing that please try your representation and you will understand how difficult it would be to implement. You will realize, certainly there is a way of realizing because everything is Boolean function, but the amount of circuitry needed would be extremely complex. I am giving an example for 3 bits because if I draw 4 bits, it would take almost the entire class for me to complete that 4 bits representation. Now imagine we are looking today at 64 bits. So imagine the size of the circuitry when I am looking at 64-bit conversion of minus a to 2 power minus a into whatever representation you want. So this particular issue of large size bits is called scalability. So when you design such type of hardware, when you propose this type of representation, you should also look at the scalability point of view. So these two are my answers to your question. So so to sum up, yes, you can realize you can make the least significant bit as a signed bit, but then the entire solution will become unviable for doing, specifically for modeling subtraction as addition of unsigned numbers. Doing signed arithmetic using an unsigned adder would be the real complex. Okay. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Please ask your question.
Morning, sir.
Yes.
So why are we getting the complement of -4 as -4?
We are getting the complement of -4 as -4 because it is exactly the half of 8. So I want to model -4 as 2 power n minus 4. So since I have only 8 steps, so -4 essentially becomes again -4. So if I have 5-bit arithmetic where I can go from 0 to 31, your -4 will essentially become 32 minus 4, which is 28. There your -16 will actually be mentioned as 16, but it is not 16. Please note, gentlemen, that if I have the last bit as 1, it is not a positive number. It is a negative number as per the 2's complement representation. Now your -4 essentially became the decimal equivalent of +4 because it is exactly on the half. This will happen if I am going to do 32. If I do 5-bit arithmetic, then 32. If I do 4-bit arithmetic, then your -8 would be +8. +8 of the decimal representation. If I am doing 5-bit arithmetic, your -16 will become the decimal equivalent of that would be +16. Nevertheless, from our perspective, if I want to subtract 4, that means instead of moving 4 steps anti-clockwise, it is equivalent to moving 4 steps clockwise, and that's the reason. So to make the things in a lighter vein, half the class is empty is equivalent to saying half the class is full. Okay, and this is exactly what's happening. Do you follow? Did you follow? Thanks. Okay. Any other doubts? So I am just winding up in the next few minutes. So if anybody else has any doubts, please raise up your hand. Okay. Okay. Thank you. So we will meet next Wednesday.